Hello and welcome to Cook Square Park this afternoon, for this huge semi-final clash between the Maitland Magpies and the Edgeworth Eagles. In saying it has been a long time since Maitland have been in the top grade in the Northern New South Wales finals is very much an understatement. It has been 16 years up to this afternoon. But this is where the Magpies moment appears, a chance to knock off the defending premiers and current minor premiers in their own backyard. It doesn't get much bigger than that, and with the experience of Matt Thompson and Dean Heffernan, they shouldn't be written off. For the Eagles, they come into this match with all the pressure on them. They're expected to win and are expected to make their second grand final in as many years. The good sides aren't weighed down by expectation, and this is Edgeworth's chance to show just how good they are. They come into this semi-final as raging hot favourites. Whether they deliver or not will be a mark of Damien Zane's men. What an afternoon we have in store as the Magpies take on the Eagles on a beautiful Saturday afternoon for finals football on the home of grassroots sport here at Cook Square Park. Joining me in commentary, as always, Chris Turner and Damien Smith. You guys have been on the sideline for a lot of these matches. What are the coaches thinking right now? Damien Zane's walking over towards us and Reece Thompson will be helping out at the Maitland dugout. What are they going through right now?
Well, there's a few things going through their mind. Ben, they're obviously expecting to both want to get a good result today, of course, but as you said before, Edgeworth definitely thinking that they'll need to get a result because they've been the champions this year and they've done it last year. So I personally feel like there's a fair bit of expectation on them. As far as Maitland goes, they've got some very strong key players into their team that they've brought in this year that are going to make a huge difference. And so from their point of view, they'll be relying on their big game players today.
We'll just go down now to Damien Smith. He's got Edgeworth coach Damien Zane down with him.
Damien, big game today against Maitland. What are your initial thoughts?
Win, pretty much. Just got to play to the conditions and be intense, but have composure on the ball.
Yep. And also, windy conditions here, so obviously you want to keep the ball on the deck. And as I've noticed, the ground's slightly been tucked in a little bit. So. What's the game plan without giving too much away?
Oh, mate, we play the same way every week, mate. Play to win and get the ball moving quick, and nothing changes.
And obviously, away goals are very important today.
Any goal's important, mate. Yeah, you win the game. Win both games, you go through. Pretty simple.
Okay, mate. Good luck.
Thanks to Damien Zane there, having a chat before the game with Damien Smith and Chris. Really big day for Edgeworth because next weekend they're going to have one eye on the semi and one eye on that FFA Cup match against the Wanderers.
Yeah, and I think Damien Zane's there. He's got his troops well gathered for today because he's getting their thoughts and their minds about today's game. And what's difficult for them is that they've got a day which is very, very windy here at Maitland. It's called Windy Hill, but they're often those types of days. Today is particularly windy and the ground's a little bit bumpy, as in hard, so it could be quite quick. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. The sideline's been brought in, and we've also we've got pretty tight conditions, so unusual here for the Maitland ground.
Now we've got Reece Thompson coming over. He's going to have a chat to Damien Smith as well before the game.
So Reece, big game today, playing against the minor premiers. Any thoughts on today?
Yeah, mate, look, to be honest with you, we're at home, and obviously with the away goals rule and stuff, we're probably going to try and focus on as much as not conceding as many as we can, so give us a bit of a chance. They've obviously got the FFA Cup coming up next week, so if we can stay in it this week, it'll hopefully put the cat amongst the pigeons next week. Also,
I noticed the field's in slightly. I think it's a great move by Maitland, so obviously they're a mobile side, so you want to try and compact the space.
Mate, yeah, look, if we keep the pitch, we've got a 75-metre width pitch here, so I think the regulations are 68 to 75 metres has got to be in between. So if we kept it this wide, and they could have cut us to pieces with the quality players that they've got. So try and condense it, try and compact the pitch and compact the space as much as possible. That way we can hopefully batten down the hatches and send it to next week.
Okay, good luck, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks again to Reece Thompson and to Damien Zane for having a chat pre-game. So we're underway here at Cook Square Park. It's Maitland. They're running from right to left in the first half in their predominantly white kit, and Edgeworth in their predominantly red kit there from left to right this afternoon in this one. Very important opening exchanges these for both sides, and Edgeworth has, as Damien mentioned, with Reece and Damien, those away goals, they're so crucial today in this two-leg format as this one runs over the top for Josh Evans. And the wind, it's always windy up here. How do you think that's going to affect them, Damien?
Sorry, Ben, I thought you were talking to Chris. Oh, yeah, the wind's going to be hard. It's a bumpy pitch as well, so they want to keep the ball on the deck. So it looks like the wind's favouring Edgeworth in the first half. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how both teams adapt.
Yeah, the wind is definitely howling from a left to right of screen, so straight behind the Eagles' attack in the first half.
We've spoken already about the wind playing a factor, but this ground here is notorious for being, they call it Windy Hill, as I mentioned before. It does get it, but today is just a genuinely windy day anyway, so both teams are going to play in it. It is interesting that they've brought the sidelines in just to shorten things up a bit, so that will help on a windy day. And also, as Damien mentioned before, the key about keeping the ball on the deck is going to be very important in keeping control of possession.
I also think set pieces is going to be a key today as well, especially teams going with the wind, because the wind is quite fierce, isn't it?
Very, very much so. It's blowing an absolute gale. Now, those other scores from earlier today, Western were playing in the first two matches. They played the under-16 emerging Jets in the 19s clash. They won that 1-0 against the minor premiers, and then they followed that up in the 22s by winning 2-0 against Broadmeadow Magic, who were the minor premiers. So an outstanding performance from the two Western sides today. Grand final day, we will be doing the 19s and 22s live, so that's going to be a very interesting couple of matches, the 19s and 22s. Potentially Western will be there.
Ooh.
So we see the free kick going the way of Maitland. Ryan Gallagher, our referee today. He's actually a linesman in the A-League, Ryan Gallagher, so just having a quick chat to Brent Hamill there.
I think Brent Hamill's very lucky to get away without a yellow card there. His studs were raised, but Ryan's done the sensible thing. Just talk to the players, settle them down. It is a semi-final. There's a lot of passion out there.
We've just had a look at that on replay as well, and he was potentially a little bit lucky there, was Bren. So early days, and it's early in the piece, and he just doesn't want to do too many of those because it could result in a card early.
Well, here's Dean Heffernan standing over the free kick. It's his left boot through it towards Ben Martin at the back post, then cleared up the ground.
In these conditions, Ben, the ball's just bumping everywhere, so I could see a goal coming from a deflection or somewhere today because of the wind and the bumpy pitch.
That's going to make it tough for goalkeepers as well up here today.
Well, the other thing that happens is that on conditions like when there is a bit of breeze about, guys that can control the ball well can use the wind to their advantage to hold it up, play some through balls, or maybe play something a bit longer that they normally wouldn't do. So it'd be interesting to see how both teams go about that.
What do you guys think about in terms of running with the wind or against it? Because, of course, when you're running with the wind, you've got that wind behind your back. It's a lot easier to get down and attack. But when you've got it against you, the ball holds up a bit more. So is there a preference?
Me personally, I prefer to run into the wind. You can keep the ball on the deck a bit better. When you're playing with the wind, depending on how the wind's going, a lot of times the balls are coming in too hard to play, so it's really hard to control. And look at the bat ball go.
So Aiden Bryce there, that would have gone over the sideline on a normal day, on a normal pitch. I'm not going to say a normal day here because it is normally windy here, but a normal day on a pitch that's a little bit lower in altitude than Cook Square Park. That one would have gone flying over the sideline instead, straight up in the air as Don Bazzari on the ball for the Eagles now.
So both playing into the wind and playing against it has got a skill and an art in both. And you're right, Damien, when playing into the wind, you get to keep the ball on the deck. And then how teams adapt to playing with the ball with their wind at the back is an art as well, because you can play in enemy territory more often.
Here's Aiden Bryce slicing one. In the end, it was on target, but straight to Matt trotting goals.
Hey, Ben, just on team news, Brodie Taylor is out with an ankle injury. He suffered that 2 weeks ago against Maitland when he came off, and Matty Cumberford has succumbed to his fractured rib, so he's out today.
So a couple of big losses for each side, and especially for Maitland.
But an interesting inclusion is, for me, is Moriyasu. I thought, because Maitland's such a physical side, I know Zane likes to keep Moriyasu to the last 30 minutes when the physicality's died down. So starting Moriyasu, he's obviously got something up his sleeve.
Well, this season, Edgeworth have scored 52 goals this season. In comparison, Maitland have scored 34. So that's really where they're going to have to make up the difference in this final series. Maitland are going to have to defend well. They've conceded just 23 goals this season. An outstanding record for Maitland, conceding 23. Edgeworth with 18. So a lot closer defensive-wise, and that's where I think if Maitland want to win over these two legs, it's going to come down to defence.
Yeah, I agree, Ben. But just also for a change, I forgot to mention Pat Wheeler's out for Edgeworth as well.
I should mention Edgeworth, 19 goals conceded this year, not 18. So still an outstanding record, 19, and then Maitland with the 23.
To be honest, for a semi-final, I think I'd rather go with the win the first half, try and get a few goals, especially for Edgeworth, who is the away team. If they can get 1 or 2 goals in the second half, it's really going to deflate Maitland. So it's very important Maitland stay very focused, very compact in defence.
Well, last time they met, it was a couple of weeks ago at Jack McLaughlin Oval, and on that occasion it was Edgeworth who got the job done 2-1 to seal the minor premiership that afternoon. Aaron McLaughlin with the throw he scored last time Edgeworth played up here, and they won 3-1. That day they got ahead to a 3-0 lead and then a couple of penalties late. Here's the ball in towards Brent Hamill, but Matt Trott, we know how experienced he is with the punch. Up to Ryan Broadley, who slices that one over towards the sideline. But it was 3-0 to Edgeworth after about 50 minutes on that afternoon. Aaron McLaughlin with the third of them. Brodie Taylor scored the first after what you describe as a howler from Matt Trott, and then the second from Daniel McBreen, an outstanding goal. And then Edgeworth sort of let Maitland back into it after that and just got away with it.
Ben, just on that, there's the disadvantage of playing with the wind. The ball over to Moriyasu, and the wind just got hold of it and ran it over the sideline. So that's the difficulty when you're playing with the wind.
Well, here's Ryan Clark. There's that wind, as we spoke about. Ryan Clark was bearing down on the penalty box there, unable to get control of the ball though.
And then it worked in reverse for Maitland, where Ryan Broadley, you have to get used to saying that, not Ralphie, he's played a ball in and looking for Clark that held up beautifully. So, you know, that's the art that we were talking about before.
Hayden Bryce, he missed last week's match against Adamstown. First match he missed in that 4-game period where Edgeworth played 4 games in about 10 days. He played every one of them, so given a rest last weekend against the Rosebuds. McLaughlin again with the throw into Pasquale. He missed last week as well. He was rested by coach Damien Zane. Dylan Hulse. 3 goals in his last 3 matches for the Eagles. Dylan Hulse. 1 against Valentine and the wet weather catch-up match on the Thursday night at Lake Macquarie Regional Football Facility. A goal last week. Here's Aidan Gardner with a shot, deflecting to Trott. 1 against Valentine, 1 against Maitland last game, and then 1 last weekend for Dylan Hulse.
Hey Ben, I think Maitland just need to be careful here. I know they're going into the win, which they may get into the habit of dropping off a fair bit in defence, which will really open up the game, especially with Maitland starting off with a 4-4-2 with Clark and Benny Martin up front. Therefore, it's 3v2 in the centre of the park. So Maitland don't want to be dropping off too much, opening the space for the centre 3 of Edgeworth.
Dean Heffernan brings it wide to Liam Thornton. Stabs it over towards Matt Thompson. Now Aidan Bryce gets up with the header, and Pasquale over towards the sideline for Bren Hamill, who also didn't play last weekend, one of the 5 to miss the match. Maitland with the throw. But Matt Thompson, he's gone to another level this season. Last year sort of struggled in a Maitland side which finished in the bottom half of the ladder, but this season he's been outstanding for the Magpies. Yeah,
he sure has. He actually spoke about, you know, I mean, it's only minor, but just the adjustment of pace from what he'd been, you know, groomed into and been playing at. And it's only minor. It wouldn't be a lot of people that pick it, but if you're a seasoned professional like him, you would know that. And so he's really found his rhythm this year, and he's been playing some great football, steering the team around the park, and what a guy to have in your side.
Don Bazzari stabbing it forward towards McBreen, who rises with the head but unable to control.
Yes, that was a smart jump by McBreen. He jumped early and knew the ball was going to float up. Got the header, but there was no one there coming on. So
a stat that really is a massive one in the context of the head-to-head between these two sides. They've played 16 times dating back to 1997, so that's as far back as the match results go that we can find. And Edgeworth have won 15 of the 16 matches back to 1997 these two sides have played, and the one draw that was back in 1998. It was a 2-2 draw. So Maitland have not beaten Edgeworth since 1997, at least. It could be longer than that.
What about in trial games?
Trial matches, I don't have that stat. They're not important. They're not
You
important.
didn't research that as well? That's rubbish.
This is what I mean by the wind. It's got to.
Here's Ryan Clark spinning and turning away from Bazzari. He has the shot into the back of Bazzari, now across to Ben Martin. Scored a spectacular goal against Adamstown earlier in the season.
Yeah, Josh Evans had a little bit of trouble with the wind there, which caused him to have a miss kick. Puts his side under pressure a little bit. It's going to be very difficult conditions today.
Probably unlucky not to get in the top 5, Ben Martin, with that goal against Adamstown. Of the goals this season in the NPL Northern New South Wales, if you check out the Facebook page, they're up there. If you've missed them so far, some outstanding strikes this season. Most of which have come against Western, actually. 3 of the 5 is here. Here's a free kick going the way of Edgeworth. Referee Ryan Gallagher giving a very loud blow of his whistle there.
Yeah, that's Zach Hill playing against one of his former clubs as well, Edgeworth Eagles. So just giving someone a niggle in back play. This is where Pasquale, having the 3 centre midfielder, he could really pick the ball up here. And you could probably comment on this, Chris. You've spoken about Pasquale many times this year, but yeah, they need Ryan Clark to drop deep. I know they're playing 2 strikers, but they're going to need one of their strikers just to push on Pasquale, because if he gets room, it could be dangerous.
What they don't want him to do is get on the ball and get on it often. And if he gets himself really settled into this game and gets himself used to the conditions, and you see now he's got a ton of room around him, he's ready to play, he's ready to pick it up, and he's got team members that want to give him the ball because they know that he's like their pivot point.
That was a great throw by Trott, by the way. He's put Maitland into an attacking position.
It's Liam Thornton. Stabs it towards Matt Thompson. Zari got up and headed it out of danger, or immediate danger, for the Eagles.
The other thing for Maitland, they need to be careful when they push forward in numbers. They need to get back because, as you know, Edgeworth transition very quickly and do it very well.
McLaughlin now. Back to Bazzari, who hoofs it up over halfway. Now it runs down to Matt Trott. We didn't have any of the Coalfield sides actually in the finals last year. It was Hamilton, Lambton, Edgeworth, Magic. So it's a tough trip up here. Western were in it the year before when they played Lambton in the grand final in 2014. But I think we underestimate for the clubs that are from inner city Newcastle. We know Edgeworth's a little bit out of the inner city, but it is a tough trip up here.
Well, the thing about it is that they train in these conditions. They're used to it. They expect it to be cold, wet, windy, and that's what they're doing, you know. And so you get in today, and this isn't out of the ordinary for these boys.
Here's Matt Thompson trying to thread it through for Ben Martin, and it runs back for Bazzari.
Just on Edgeworth, see Aidan Bryce there, one of their pet plays is playing the ball through for the advancing midfielder in Aidan Gardner, and it was cut out. With the field being small, it's going to be a lot more difficult today, so Edgeworth really need to get nice and wide and use the width. Like Brent Hamill, he's right on the touchline, which is a smart thing.
How much of an impact do you think that sideline being brought in is going to have on the Eagles?
Yeah, look, you know, Damien said before, smart play, and for sure. If you look at play, we've got the exception of Bren Hamill, but other than that, everyone's possibly, the widest guys are 3 metres inside anyway, so would they have been 3 metres further before? So, look, it's going to bring it down, but if Edgeworth want to stretch it like Bren Hamill has just done, they can.
And that was a problem with Moriarty there. He was only a few metres in from the sideline, but it was hard to pick out because it's very tight, and the ball was intercepted by Zach Hill.
So I guess the example of that, if it was another 3.5 metres further and he's another 3 metres wider again, he's possibly in a little better position to pick it up. But he does have the ability to stretch, as you just said, Smudge, stretch right over to the sideline.
So the throw for McLaughlin, back to Bazzari. Goes up towards McBrain, but Carl Thornton's there. And then Zach Hill over towards the sideline. But I'm trying to think of the smaller grounds in the competition, and one of them is Lambton. Edgeworth played there in round 1. They got up that afternoon 2-1, but Lambton could have got away with the points that afternoon. Edgeworth with 2 late goals, but they weren't, one was from a corner which sort of scrapped its way over, and then Keanu Moore had a sort of a half break and finished it. So
I think the difference is, Ben, this is a bouncy ground, so it's hard to actually play really, really good football, and that's what Edgeworth like to do. Look at the ball on the deck and play their 1-2s, link up plays, and keep the ball on the deck. This is a very difficult ground to do that because it's bumpy.
As you said at the beginning of the game, Smudge, the ability that Edgeworth have got is that they can do that. So I think key for me is how well they keep it on the deck. and not just be tempted to put it up in the air too often, and be very patient with your passing.
I agree, TC.
I mean, it doesn't have to go long all of the time in windy conditions. You can get the job done effectively by keeping it on the ground. And, this is what I'd like to see from Edgeworth, for them to, if they're going to be dominant today, this is where they're going to do it. As we see Brent Hamill get right on the sideline again, and he's got this thing worked out. He's thinking if they're bringing it in 3 metres, they're going to use all of it.
I think the other thing is, with Edgeworth, they don't need to rush the ball going forward. They can just keep the ball, try and bring the Maitland defence out so there's space in beyond. Even though it will be very difficult to play a ball beyond because the wind's just going to take it. But Edgeworth just need to be patient. And you know what? Maitland set himself up really well here.
Here's Moriarty now, over near that far sideline. Well defended there by McKellar, and now Dylan Holtz running back towards halfway. Finals matches last year, there was 5 of them, and there was 15 goals across the 5 matches, so an average of 3 goals per match. Here's McBrain swinging one across the face. McLaughlin unable to control, and then Pasquale couldn't control it. It ran back to Ben Martin.
This is where Maitland need to push out a bit. They're a bit too deep for my liking.
Now Aiden Bryce goes in towards Aiden Gardner. Controls nicely back to Pasquale. Touch on towards Moriarty, but just over his head.
Oh, not on from Ben Martin. Then Ryan Clark was away.
McBrain now. Back to McLaughlin. It's been Edgeworth with much of the control across the opening part of this first half. First leg of the semi-final. Here's Ben Martin now. Trying to hold off Josh Evans.
He's done very well there and kept strong on the ball. He did a great job there, Ben Martin, by literally just holding the ball up so his team could catch up to him. As the play, really needed to progress up the pitch.
I think Edgeworth just need to be a bit more patient here. Just knock the ball around a bit. That's better by Adam Bryce. And I noticed Ryan Clark, he's dropping in on Pasquale. That's a smart move.
Sure is. They need to cut Pasquale out of this equation. And you know what? Back to Ben Martin. If he's able to do during the game what he's just done there by holding the ball up, be very strong with his back to goal, and just look for a release when it turns up, then that's going to get Maitland out of a lot of trouble.
Yep.
Free kick goes the way of the Magpies. This season at home, Maitland have averaged just 1.3 points per game. Overall, they're at 1.6.
Really? That's
41% of Maitland's points have come at home. So just 41% at home. They've scored 38% of their goals at home, and they've conceded 52% of their goals at home. So every way you look at it, the stats show that Maitland's record here at Cook Square Park this season hasn't been fantastic.
But that also comes down to, obviously, Maitland like to play. You got Matty Thompson in the middle of the park. You got players there who like to play with a ball on the deck. This pitch is difficult to do that at the best of times. So, and like TC said, he's coached up here. It's always windy up here. So that's probably maybe an example. They like playing on probably a pitch which is probably less windy and not as hard. But they do train on it. So
here's Aiden Bryce into McBrain, who touches on towards Brent Hamill. And they'll let that run. Liam Thornton will over the byline, and it'll be a goal kick.
Just on that, Ben, what I would like to see is Aiden Bryce or the Edgeworth boys just keep the ball a bit, go back around, because there it's too tight, too tight for me. Just keep the ball, try and drag Maitland's defence out, because at the moment they're very deep and they're very compact. There's about 15 blokes in a little blanket space, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. You've hit that one right on the head, and I think if we stretch it out, what's so funny about that? Oh, by the way, it's a nice scarf. It's freezing up here, and he did ask me to bring one, so.
Here's Ben Martin. We'll come back to Damien's scarf in a sec, as here's Matt Trott. And now Dylan Hull. So we've got a player down in the middle of the park. I'm just trying to check
McBrain.
who that is. As here's Daniel McBrain with a chance on goal. He comes across Matt Trott and Daniel McBrain in the big games. The big players strike, and McBrain has done so for the Eagles.
What a terrific pickup. Doesn't he show his class, Smudge, in that sort of space? Picks it up. He's got a defender on his shoulder, and then he's able to roll it where it needs to go.
And you know the thing what we just said earlier? Well, the boys are going down to have a look at the replay.
Here we go. We'll have a quick look just over the 20-minute mark we are, and there it is from Daniel McBrain.
He's just put that absolutely where it needs to go, and the ability to finish consistently like that is such an asset for the Eagles.
But like we said at the start of the game, I said Maitland have to be careful not pushing forward too quickly, because Edgeworth transitioned very quick, and that happened perfectly there. They found McBrain in space, and he scored. That's a great away goal for Edgeworth. Maitland need to be careful here.
As it starts to get windier up here at Cook Square Park, if that's actually possible, as Moriarty couldn't keep it in, but Edgeworth win the throw. They've won just one of their last 4, Maitland. Their only win was 3-2 against Western. That was back in round 16. They had a draw against the Jets before then. Now he's looking for McBreen. Gee, that's a good ball from Aiden Bryce. Just cut out by Thornton.
And again, Maitland's sitting really deep, which is causing Edgeworth to really get on the ball, especially in midfield.
I don't know whether you noticed there that McBreen ran into position, had his hands in the air, waving his hands around, calling for it, and delivery was not far from arriving. It
was a perfect ball from Aiden Bryce. Just unlucky that it was Carl Thornton was awake to it. As here's Bryce again to Hamill.
You know the other thing involves Damien Zame. I'd probably encourage Edgeworth to strip from distance. This wind's quite strong and it's moving around. So, and Skelly, you agree with me as well.
Good to see you, Skell.
But I'd be shooting from distance. This wind's quite tricky, especially for the goalkeepers.
Here's Matt Trott with the goal kick. Up over halfway. Ryan Clark is dropping back, but it's McLaughlin there for the Eagles. Over towards the sideline, as we know. Very easy to put one over the sideline on this pitch today. This is McLaughlin.
Yeah, the ball's certainly going to run on from you a little bit, and down that far side from where we're looking here. It's going to be hard to control the ball, and it does, seem to dominate over that side of the pitch.
Here's McBreen with the header.
Great header by McBreen.
And now Matt Thompson.
I think Matt needs to get on the ball and just settle the Magpies down a little bit.
Liam Thornton back for Heffernan. Now to Broadley.
Yeah, great turn.
Turns away from his opposite number, Pasquale, and then McKellar lets it run on, but there was no one there. And Bazzari brings it away now for the Eagles.
And this is the transition we're talking about with the Eagles.
Look at this space. Bazzari being allowed to run. He goes across to McBreen. Can he find the net again? It's well blocked by Blake Thompson, and it's over for a corner for Edgeworth. They're opening them up now, aren't they?
That's right, Maitland. They're pressing forward. They had 4 players forward, and the transition by Edgeworth is nice and quick, and so that's where Maitland need to be very careful, especially running into the wind.
I thought McBreen, just for that 1 second or so, might have had a little bit of deja vu, because it was very similar to where he just scored his goal from. Just a bit too much traffic.
It's the ball in. It's going to go over for a goal kick.
I like the banner between these sides. Even when McBreen scored, he went straight over to the Maitland faithful and celebrated. So the guys on the, well, I wouldn't call it the hill, the guys on with the cans were giving him heaps. So
down near the beer tent.
Yeah, good little atmosphere down the corner there.
Beautiful day up here at Maitland, apart from the wind, but you expect that. As here's Josh Evans now. Still Josh Evans. Gee, they're allowing Edgeworth, and there's that ball over the sideline. Pitch a little bit tight for Josh Evans' liking. Probably would have been a perfect pass had the pitch been a few metres wider. Here's Heffernan.
Might have been a case if he'd played the ball before it was actually delivered.
Here's Aidan Gardner. And now back for Heffernan. Hamill steps away from Thornton.
We just need to be patient here. I think Maitland need to push out a bit. They're a bit too deep for my liking. I've said it a few times now.
Both Carl and Liam Thornton, they're part of one of the only sides to have beaten Edgeworth in the last 2 seasons when they played for Western last year. Western winning the game 1-0 in round 9 last year, as this one goes back to Jim Fogarty. And now Aiden Bryce brings it away. It's only been 4 sides in the last 36 matches that have beaten Edgeworth. One of them was that Western side. So Aiden Bryce steps away from Broadley.
Nice touch by Clark.
Matt Thompson up towards Ben Martin, but Bazzari's there. Look at this space that Don Bazzari's being afforded.
It's because
Once
the back,
more.
yeah, it's because Maitland's back four is very deep. Like it's 40 yards between the strikers and the defence. They need to push up a bit. It might be a plan for him, but Edgeworth's getting too much space.
Yeah, those last 36 matches for Edgeworth have had a loss to Adamstown, Western, and 2 to Hamilton. An incredible record. As Dylan Holtz gets taken down by Carl Thornton.
This is Moriarty range, I think. The wind behind him.
I think that's going to be the test for him here, isn't it? That wind. It is blowing from behind him, but it is swirling around a little bit. So we'll see if he can get it right.
Lynn Giles is a keeper on a windy day like this, and you've got someone that can move the ball in the air anyway. Trot's going to be really on his game here, and he'll be very alert to where the body shape of Moriarty as he runs up to the ball to try and anticipate where it's going to go.
Ben Martin coming back to join the wall. The referee telling them to come back in line with him. The Maitland defence not agreeing with it.
Yeah, it's a good 10 yards there by Ryan Gallagher.
Physio at the John Hunter, Damien.
Yeah, one of those intelligent physios.
Here's Moriarty with the free kick again. Oh, jeez. He's only just missed the top corner by a matter of centimetres, you'd think.
It was very, very close. Great strike, and it would have been interesting to see how Trot would have gone if it was on target.
Yeah, just on Ryan Gallagher. Yes, he works as a physio up at the John Hunter and a FIFA assistant referee. But just talking, some of his favourite hobbies is romantic walks along the beach with his girlfriend and dog Buster. So just telling me before the game.
There you go. What breed is his dog?
I'm unsure. And I'm unsure if the dog's name's Buster.
I think you need
You're
to do
unsure
some
if he's
research.
got a dog.
No, I know he's definitely got a dog. Seen pictures.
So it's going to be Matt Trott.
And he has got a girlfriend, so I know that for a fact as well.
I was wondering whether that came from the fairy tales Damien Smith novels. Have you got a book out?
Just while we got a moment on his scarf, he did say you're going to wear a scarf today, and I said no, and especially it was kind of not windy or whatever, and he's looked a fraction feminine, but I'm ready to borrow it. But
Mate, I warned you. I said it's going to be cool up here on the windy hill.
Here's John McKellar with the stab on towards Ryan Clark, and Clark gets clipped by Bazari. He didn't go down, and then the crowd went up a little bit delayed. So
And the assistant referee didn't call it either, so
yeah, so it's
it
going to
must have
go
been
over.
fair play.
A rare goal kick for Jim Fogarty in the Edgeworth goals.
it's kind of one of those ones, Smudge, if he does go down, it's free kick.
Yeah, agree. But it's hard to tell from here, so.
Yeah, especially your eyesight.
But the assistant didn't waive it, so it must have been all good.
I was going to say 6 clean sheets for Edgeworth this year. Jim Fogarty not involved in all of them. It was a game against Western where he missed
I think Hamilton had
the
8.
match.
Did Hamilton have 8?
Hamilton with 8 this season, yep. They're at the top. And Maitland with 4 clean sheets.
I think Ireland 7 of those.
Last week Tom Pullen with the first for himself, which will give him plenty of confidence. A reminder, that match tomorrow, the derby, it's Lockie Pasquale getting down with Matt Thompson there on the ground.
So if that's the case, it looks like Danny Ireland will get goalkeeper of the year because it goes on clean sheet. So if he has, congratulations, Danny Ireland. He's a great year, and hopefully he gets back in the next few days.
Yeah, so Hamilton Broadmeadow, that one is going to be a cracker as Matt Trott almost gets himself into a pickle. Hamilton Broadmeadow, I should say Broadmeadow Hamilton at Magic Park tomorrow, the first leg. We'll be live from 2:30 with Damien, Chris and Daniel Herrera. He'll be there with them.
So the A-team tomorrow, is it?
I'm going to the WPL Grand Final to call that for Bar TV. So if you don't want to listen to Chris and Damien tomorrow, tune into that one out with Cass Wright and Emily Frost tomorrow afternoon at Rockwell Automation Park in Western. As here's Liam Thornton with the tackle.
Yeah, great challenge.
Up to Ben Martin and over the sideline. And a reminder, next weekend, just so you are aware of the times, it's 2 o'clock next weekend at Edgeworth, this one. It'll kick off. And then 6:30, we've got to make the shuttle across to Hamilton for Hamilton Broadmeadow.
Dylan Holtz.
Dylan Holtz with a shot, and Dylan Holtz across, trotted in. And that's his 4th in the last 4 matches.
What a turn by Dylan Holtz. Great throw-in by Adam Bryce. He turned him, and great strike.
He did. He picked his mark beautifully, didn't he? And he's got onto that ball and struck it sweetly with his right foot into the bottom corner of the post. And
Just came out of nowhere, didn't it? just bang, that shot with his right foot.
Well, that's the ability of the player that he gets half a metre to turn, and then when he's done that, he's taken the opportunity to put that one away.
Yes, that's 2 away goals for Edgeworth, so they're in a prime position here, and it's only, half an hour played?
Half an hour, just over half an hour gone in the match. What have Maitland got to do now? What is Reece Thompson going to say to his side at half time? Or what do you think the message is from him now?
Well, I think they need to get through to half time. Let's see if they can pinch a goal back, but the problem is they're just standing too deep, allowing Edgeworth way too much room, and again.
He's Dylan Holtz almost finding Moriyasu. But Damien, I was just saying to Chris, is we have to run down the stairs here at Maitland to check the replays. Moriyasu goes down. We may see a card come out. No, he's just going to have a chat to Blake Thompson. But the turn and shoot from Dylan Holtz just came from nowhere. The ball bobbling around, and then he's turned and found the bottom corner.
For me, as soon as the throw went in, he knew exactly what he was going to do. He controlled the ball. He knew the guy. He could feel the defender up his back, so he knew exactly where the defender was and turned the opposite way. And a great strike. He sort of got on the half volley or something. I haven't seen the replay, but great strike.
He's in a purple patch of form, Dylan Holtz, as we mentioned. 4 goals in his last 4 matches.
And just quickly, I agree with what you say there, Smudge. That's the thing. That turn predetermined is what you practice as a kid. You've got that one pre-programmed, and he's just pulled it out and executed perfectly. Because
you could feel the defender behind him, so and just right off him.
Only, we'll just say Moriyasu, what he can do with this free kick. It was bending towards the near post and over for a corner. But he scored just two goals, Dylan Holtz, in his opening 15 matches of the season. 4 in 4 now to make it 6 goals for the season.
Well, the main thing he started the last 4 matches, so he's getting confidence within himself.
Here's Brent Hamill back to Moriyasu, whipping it in. And Zach Hill is there to knock it away. Ryan Clark, he's got Pasquale. He beats him for pace, Ryan Clark. He's getting a little tug. And Ryan Clark turns around and
That's fair. That's a good call by the referee.
That's fair enough.
Clark has asked the question and got the answer there, and it was fair enough because he was passed and had some metres to gain.
Clark trying to turn again.
I think Maitland really need to get in at half time at 2-0. They can't afford to get any more goals scored against them, otherwise I think they're going to be in a bit of trouble.
The only issue...
But 2-0, I know they're away goals, but 2-0, they can still get something out of this game.
This is an offside against Daniel McBrain. Now the rule is, in terms of yellow cards in the finals, we've been having issues, as this one runs down towards Ben Martin, I should say. There was Ryan Clark there too. So here's a shot to Jim Fogarty from Jai McKellar. And now Aaron McLaughlin back to Pasquale. But that rule in terms of yellow cards in the finals is if you get a yellow card in each match before the grand final, you miss the grand final. So Lockie Pasquale.
I just heard from the Maitland defence there. As soon as they lost the ball, they're saying everyone drop, and their defence was dropping further deeper, which is creating too much space for Edgeworth. I'd like to push them on a bit more, because even if there's space in behind, a ball through is going to run out. We've seen that happen. So I think playing into the win, it's better to push up higher to leave the space in beyond, because the ball's just going to run through the keeper most of the time.
Yeah, sure will. Yeah, well summed up.
Carl Thornton goes back to trot. He goes low with that clearing kick. And Matt Thompson with a lovely header over the top for McKellar.
Here's Clark one-on-one.
Here's Clark, turns away from Bazari. You just sense with Ryan Clark there, maybe the ball just held up a touch, didn't it?
Yeah, if I was Maitland, I'd try to get him into one-on-one situations. He's got speed to burn, especially in the second half.
Josh Evans across to Aiden Bryce. Look at that. It's got a lot of pace behind it, that ball, as it came towards us here. There's Bryce into the back of Broadley. Matt Thompson comes across. Wins the throw. Liam Thornton now. As we mentioned, Western last season. 3 goals this year for Liam Thornton. Jim Fogarty, all those in the back half of the season for Liam Thornton, those 3.
Sorry, you go TC.
I just quickly want to go back to Danny Ireland. Like, if he picks up the keeper of the year, fantastic and well deserved. I just don't want to underestimate.
Here's McKellar putting a header through for Thompson. Is it going to be a penalty? It is. And Maitland could be back in the game if this one is finished.
I was going to say, it didn't want to underestimate the season that Fogarty's had either, and here's a good opportunity to see what he can do in a big game situation. But he's had a great year himself, Bart, and I like the way he's gone about it.
Yeah,
he's
so
been really good for Edgeworth all year, and right now they need him.
Yeah, so looking at the replay, it looked like Aidan Bryce went into the back of Matt Thompson there. So the wind caused a bit of havoc there.
It was bouncing all over the place, the ball there. It's going to be Matt Thompson who stands over this one. He's Maitland's leading goal scorer this year. He scored 11, 2 from this spot. He comes in against Jim Fogarty, and Fogarty, has he saved it? He has! Or has it gone over the line? It has gone over the line, and Maitland have scored.
Fogarty very unlucky. Very unlucky.
And that's the second. It's the third penalty that Maitland have had against Edgeworth down that end of the ground. They had 2 in the first match they played. Jim Fogarty saved one of those, Blake Thompson's. The first one wasn't over the line, but it's Matt Thompson who just sneaks it through Jim Fogarty.
Yeah, that's a bonus goal for Maitland. That's probably the first time they've really pressured their goal. So they're back in the game at 2-1. Long as they don't concede before half time.
It was an identical save, that one. Well, it wasn't a save in the end, but it was identical to the one Blake Thompson scored against Fogarty first up against Edgeworth last game, then had it saved by Fogarty right at the end of the match. And then again, so they've gone bottom right-hand corner each time against Jim Fogarty. Maitland, here's Dylan Holtz almost through.
Yeah, we're just talking about him.
That's good effort from Dylan Holtz. I think he's put it over the sideline, has he?
So just on that, see the ball but get played through. That's why Maitland should play a higher line, because once the ball gets played through, it just runs out. So I think next time if they played in the wind, they want to be a lot higher. And just on the refereeing there, sorry to cut you off, TC. The refereeing there, I thought Ryan Gallagher did an excellent job because he ran down to see where the ball was when Fogarty spilled it, and it was a great decision.
And the sideline official, I think, said it did cross the line. So well done by the officials as this runs down towards Jim Fogarty. So close to making the save, and he didn't argue at all. So I think it may have crossed the line. If it hadn't, it would have been a bit.
Yeah, there was no argument there, was there?
An argument from
none at all. No.
This is Thornton over towards the sideline.
But I will say the win did cause the penalty because the ball was bouncing everywhere and it was hard for the players to adjust, and Aidan Bryce just bumped Matt Thompson. Been saying that, Matt Thompson got himself in a great position to get checked.
Don't kid yourself here. Edgeworth are definitely right in the box seat still in this one with 2 away goals up here at Maitland. A 2-0 scoreline was an outstanding result at that point, but Dean Heffernan finds some space in between the Edgeworth defence. Still Heffernan, he stabs it through. It's a bit heavy for Clark, and Fogarty comes out and grabs it. Now, last season, semi-final 1, Edgeworth took on Broadmeadow on the first Saturday. They led 3-1. In the end, it finished 3-all. So maybe will that happen again? Another 2-goal lead?
It's 2-1 now, and there's a long way to go in this game in these conditions. So best thing that could have happened for Maitland is that ball dribbles over the line or whatever happened, and that they don't drop anything further before half time, so they can regroup and come out in the second half and make a game of it.
Evans
and they've got the wind as well, so I think they'll definitely make a game of it in the second half, provided they don't concede again. That's better from Edgeworth. They just need to be patient with the ball. And again, Maitland's dropped right back. It sounds like it's their game plan to sit right back and try and congest the space. However, for me, I don't think it's working that well.
Smudge, I've noticed Carl Thornton literally dropping into the back line consistently from the middle of the park. He's done it, on numerous occasions already, so it has to be a part of the game plan to go back in that deep to stop the attack of Edgeworth.
Oh, I agree. I think they just need to come out a little bit. Like I said,
we'll keep an eye on him and see where he goes. Again, look, he's slipping deeper.
It looks like he's covering McBreen. He's watching McBreen come and pick the ball up in the middle.
Here's Aidan Gardner getting in front of Dean Heffernan, who showed his experience there. There's that break as well, and Brent Hamill with a bump on Heffernan. Shoulder to shoulder. Maitland win the throw. They're wearing their Harry's House jerseys today and they're auctioning them off. Maitland outstanding.
To be honest, if Maitland go in at 2-1 at half time, I think they'll be fairly pleased, especially having the win in the second half.
An outstanding decision from for Maitland to get involved with the Harry Mayne Foundation and Harry's House, as we said, and auctioning off those jerseys. I saw $50, I think, down for Matt Thompson's jersey, so all the players' jerseys on offer to be auctioned off this afternoon. It's Matt Trott with the throw. Out towards Zach Hill. Into McKellar. Now
Oh,
Thompson.
well done by Thompson.
Thompson
Oh, he's
sliding
through
one
here.
through for Ben Martin on the shot. Jim
great
Fogarty.
save.
Outstanding save. Damien, you're getting so excited,
Oh,
aren't you?
sorry, sorry, Bar just took over.
I'll just get a hold of that scarf and strangle him.
That was a great
Yeah.
ball and a great strike,
It
but
was.
great save by Fogarty.
All round, the through ball from Thompson. Ben Martin, he picked his spot out well and hit it beautifully. And we were speaking about Fogarty before, and I'll tell you what, you know, you can't underestimate that. If that goes in, it's 2-2 and it's game on again. And there you go. You're talking about why he's one of the best keepers we've got going around in this competition.
Here's Brendan Hamill now. And Matt Thompson. Aiden Bryce. Now through for McBrain, touching it back
Great ball.
towards Holtz. I'm loving your enthusiasm, Smudge, this afternoon. I'm sure the viewers can tell how excited you are about this afternoon. It's been an absorbing battle.
This is good range with the wind behind. I know it's a fair distance out, 25 yards out, but I think it's a good range.
And Moriarty, who's already had one, if he gets his bearings from that first one, on this one here, it's a little bit further out. Matt Thompson just asking him if that's the spot. It was about a couple of centimetres back. Thompson wanted it taken from.
Yeah, he's just playing with his mind a little bit there. What's interesting about this is if he can move the ball naturally with the strike that he's got, and we've got the wind in the way that it is, it could swirl. It's worth a strike.
Oh, I
Smudge.
agree. Totally agree, TC. I think he's a chance here, to be honest.
Looking for his 18th of the year, Moriyasu, and that one. He went a little bit higher that time and unable to get the dip. The
That's the
last
hardest
one
part
I'd
when
say.
the wind's behind you. The dip, it's hard to actually get it over and down nice and quickly with the wind behind. But yeah, good strike on it.
And it's going to be Matt Trott with the goal kick for the
And we have
Magpies.
Meadows' new coach, Ruben Zakovic, in the grandstand, just eyeing the competition for next season.
Yeah, you'd be wanting to do that too. You turn up to the games as many as you can because you've got to really measure up where your team's going to be, and preparation really has started a month or two. As soon as he's appointed, he's already on the job, if not before that, as we spoke about with Peter McGuinness last week.
Here's Ryan Clark now turning inside, and Bazari again. He's done a good job on Ryan Clark in the opening half as Don Bazari and Dylan Holtz finding some space again outside this Maitland defence. We know the field's been brought in, but Holtz again finds some space around the outside. Now through for Hamill. Can he get there on the volley? Matt Trott with the save. It's going to bounce towards goal with the spin. Gardner on the volley. Well blocked by Blake Thompson. And Jai McKellar finds Matt Thompson. Can Maitland break now?
There's Edgeworth's transition. Nice and quick. They're hard to break. They're hard to stop. Maitland need to be very careful pushing numbers forward just when they're going into the wind.
Clark with the touch on to McKellar, and Clark around the outside. He gets clipped by Bazari.
I'll tell you what, if Clark's done on his feet there, he was in then.
Is it going to be a card for Bazari? It's not. That would have been big if it was a yellow for Bazari there. Centre back.
Just going back on Trott, that was a great save by Trott and a great link-up play between McBreen and Hamill.
Yeah, again, the class of McBreen, that touch was just superb and, really put Hamill on target. Bren's like all his Christmases have come at once just for a moment, but then things shut down on him very quickly. So we've got an issue with Trott here. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's just his boot.
I think
He's
his
getting
boot's come
some tape
apart.
back down the other end of the ground. So it's Dean Heffernan standing over the free kick.
This could be dangerous.
He swings it in towards the middle of the box, headed away towards Clark. McKellar. Just sense that they grab another one here, Maitland. The momentum just could shift. Probably half time would come at the wrong time if they were to score now. It's
Yeah,
Moriyasu.
even so, Edgeworth's been causing a few issues.
The wind behind, and that'll run to Matt Trott. And Matt Trott gets a little grab from McBrain, I think, joking around those two.
Yeah,
This
used to
is
play with each
Gardner.
other, I think.
Broadley nicks it off him. And he's got Liam Thornton with him. But Broadley finds his brother Carl Thornton. Liam's brother, I should say.
Oh,
And there's now Gardner with a touch on towards McBrain, but Heffernan clears it over towards the sideline. Bryce with a nice touch. That'll stay in with the wind. Now Bryce towards Gardner.
beautiful header by Carl Thornton.
Carl Thornton, one of the best defenders. I know he's playing in the midfield today, but an outstanding defender, Carl Thornton. Here's Gardner. To Moriyasu.
Edgeworth
Hill
need
comes
width here.
across. Just a little clip on Moriyasu, and he gets around broadly. Hamill, the crowd appreciated that from Kigo Moriyasu. Hamill now. That's Carl Thornton again there. Hamill brings Thornton down. Referee playing advantage. McKellar under pressure from McBrain. He brings it across to Broadley. And Gardner with the boot in. And that will do us for the first half of action here at Cook Square Park. And at half time, it's the visitors, the Edgeworth Eagles, with a 2-1 lead over Maitland. But Maitland, they were coming right back into it at the back end of that first half.
Yeah, they sure were, and they are probably going there feeling fairly happy, Smudge, because I think with the way that it was trending early, then midway through that half, then 2-0 up and maybe looking like it could go a couple more, then it's a long 2 weeks for Maitland. But they've actually turned it around and done pretty well and come back in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously they're going to be disappointed to be 2-0 down for a start, especially at home, but to come back to 2-1 and have a few sniffs towards the end of that half and keep Edgeworth just to a 1-goal lead at half time, they'll be happy. Now, they've got to win the second half, so they need to be very careful. They don't bomb forward and push numbers forward and concede more goals. So that's the key.
Half times are very important in games like this because you take a lot of the buzz into the shed with you. So out of the two teams, I know which one will be buzzing the most. And if from a coaching point of view, if you can keep that momentum through that 10 minutes that you've got at half time, keep everyone nice and relaxed, but also ready to go again with the thought in their mind that they can actually win this, which now they should. They could come out and do something special in the second half. But you know what, Edgeworth have been really, really good, and I think as the game settles, chances are that they may find themselves on top. Interesting second half. See how we go.
So half time, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for the second half. It's the Maitland Magpies 1, Edgeworth Eagles 2. Hello and welcome back to Cook Square Park for the second half of this clash. Edgeworth leading 2-1 at half-time against the home side, the Maitland Magpies. Chris, we are going to find out what the coach said off Damien in just a sec, but what do you think they both said to their sides at the break? I think for the Edgeworth side, probably a case of, all right, we've started off well, we've definitely got the ability to go and finish this one off, but we've got to change a couple of things around, and that might look like if they're going to sit deep, Maitland, we've got to have the ability to just be a little bit patient, stretch them wide where we have to, and not just running on their back four, on their back line. As far as Maitland are concerned, coaching, I think, would be something around, as we said just at half time, that they need to carry on with the way they finished off in the last 15-20 minutes. And I think that if that's the case, then they're going to push things all the way this afternoon, Smudge.
Yeah, agree. And talking to both coaches just after half time, Damien Zane quite happy with his first half. Obviously scoring 2 away goals is very good, but he said it was a bit disappointing defence. They had 2 chances and scored a goal, so he just wants to tighten up defence. Reece Thompson was also happy, especially with the last 15 minutes, obviously to get a goal back. And the main thing is just do nothing silly, keep it nice and tight. Probably not push on too much at the moment, but you know what? He wants to take it to the second leg.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a great key for him. We've got a couple of comments that need to be rectified in the second half that were made. One regarding a dog and a girlfriend, I think, and something to do with the beach, and the other one regarding the number of yellow cards. We heard secondhand that Michael Bolch is sitting in a car on the other side of the park, who's rectified Bart's comments about the amount of yellow cards. I let him fix that one up, but I tried to call Michael Bolch, but he's obviously just brushed me. Damien, thoughts?
About Michael Bolch brushing people, or about yellow cards?
So yellow cards, the yellow cards, you need 3 yellow cards to be suspended for the grand final.
Oh, is it 3 actually?
Which is impossible. So it used to be 2, so makes sense. So sorry about that,
Yeah,
Mick.
that's impossible. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. So that's what Gary Fisher just said. So I'm sorry about that, Mick. Thank you for clarifying that so people now know.
And Michael's one to be right up on the rules every week, and when he's not hanging out his washing and dislocating his shoulder, with the pegs, etc., he's reading the rules and is a student of the game.
He was actually doing yoga. He was on the downward dog position, and he sort of leant forward and he couldn't hold the weight, so that's where he pulled his rotator cuff.
Are we really going to go there and
Nah.
put him through the ringer again?
But just quickly, just on the dog, it is a cavoodle, and his name's Basil, not Buster.
So that's Ryan. That's Ryan Gallagher. So for those that weren't watching in the first half, Ryan Gallagher, our referee this afternoon.
That's quality.
His favourite pastime, as Damien said, was we'll just watch this free kick from Matt Thompson. We'll watch the game as this one is a little too heavy. But Damien Smith was saying our referee this afternoon, Ryan Gallagher. He's an A-League assistant referee. His favourite pastime was, Damien?
Romantic walks along the beach with his dog Basil, who's a cavoodle, and his girlfriend.
And what did he think of his performance in the first half?
Didn't have a chance to ask him, but I reckon he would have said good.
This is Ben Martin. He made a very good call on the penalty. There's now Matt Thompson there. Getting involved here. Maitland shoulder to shoulder with Edgeworth in this second half.
Thompson unlucky there.
Here's Bazari towards Brent Hamill in the middle of the park. Moriyasu to McLaughlin.
The other thing what Damien Zane said at halftime, he wants to get Pasquale more on the ball as well, so get a bit more link-up play with Pasquale so we can switch it, which he did well in the first half.
Aiden Bryce in towards McBreen again, but Matt Trott's there. Gee, Aiden Bryce has been afforded plenty of space down that right side, hasn't he?
Yeah, because Maitland's dropping very deep. Oh,
here's the ball bouncing up off the turf. As we said, it bounces a lot up here at Cook Square Park on the hill. And that's over for a Maitland throw.
I think it's going to be an intriguing second half with this win and see what Edgeworth do. At the moment, they look like they've just sat in a little bit, defending the lead. But and just back on Thompson's free kick, if I was Thompson, I'd probably test the goalkeeper out because the wing can take the ball anywhere.
Ryan Clark turning in towards the middle, towards McKellar. And now over towards the sideline. You just sensed, Damien, I was thinking about just before half-time, if Maitland get an equaliser then and go in at 2-2, we know that they're going to be ecstatic, but it sort of just... it sort of stops the momentum there on half-time. If they score in their second half now and it's 2-2, they've got that momentum carrying them through till the end of this match. So I think to equalise and get it back to 2-2, maybe it's not a bad thing they didn't score that equaliser at the back end of the first half.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not. Because
It's
to be
very
honest,
scientific
if I
theory.
was the Maitland coach, I would have loved to score an equaliser just before half time, but and to go in at 2-2. But they're not. But long way to go in this game, and also into the tie. There's another whole game to go. So
Here's Ryan Clark with some space, and Josh Evans does brilliantly for Edgeworth.
he's a good player, Josh Evans. To be honest, I think he's one of the best players in the league. He hasn't probably had, he's been solid again today, but it's been difficult conditions for defenders today with this wind.
Brent Hamill now. Cross to Aiden Bryce. Now Pasquale. It's just one of my many interesting theories, Damien, that I come up with throughout a match. In terms of psychology, it's interesting to see.
Yeah, I like your theory, Bart.
How teams do think.
I do like your theory, but if I had a choice to go actually have an extra goal, I'd probably prefer that.
Here's Dean Heffernan. Looking towards Ben Martin. Now Broadley. Cross towards Hill. And now Dylan Holst with the header. Carl Thornton now on the ball for Maitland. But with this wind behind them in the second half, Maitland going to have more of the ball down Edgeworth's end of the ground, so they're going to have chances to level this one all up. It's just going to be a matter of keeping Edgeworth out, you think?
Well, it is, but it's also a case for Edgeworth that are going to have, we spoke about them keeping the ball on the deck a lot and, as much as they can. And playing into the wind gives you more of an opportunity to do that. So this guy on the ball, Pasquale, if Zane has said, he wants him on the ball some more, then, that's a real key because, he's going to be able to stroke it around. And as he drops himself in position now to pick up and he's dropping off again, whatever it happens to be, Edgeworth need to just start keeping the ball on the ground and keeping possession more often.
Edgeworth have won 7 of their 9 matches away from home.
Hey, just on Edgeworth's defensive structure, just with a few plays earlier, when Blake Thompson had the ball, Edgeworth pushed up nice and high, compacted the space, made Blake Thompson play over the top, and the ball just went straight to the goalkeeper. For my liking, if I was Maitland, I probably would have done that in the first half as well, because the wind's too strong, so it's really hard to get players going in behind.
So Matt Trott taking a free kick for Maitland now down in that far corner of the ground. The wind just died down for a moment here at Cook Square Park. I'm sure it'll be back up in a minute. But speaking of that Edgeworth away record, 7 wins out of 9 matches. The only losses they've had away from home, or the only loss they had away from home was at Darling Street. This one goes to Jim Fogarty against Hamilton Olympic. They lost that one 3-1, and the other match they didn't win was 1-1 draw with Broadmeadow Magic. As here is
they've done well there.
Pasquale dispossessed. Broadley's touch is too heavy. That'll run over the byline for another goal kick. And I was also going to mention the Hamilton Olympic statistic. Now, I was checking all the tables back to 1959, which is where the Northern records go back to. It took me a while.
That would have been heaps of fun too.
Oh, it was.
Ever heard of anyone doing that?
It was. Back to 1959, and no side. Now, this is after Damien Smith said last week to me that
I gave you the challenge.
He challenged me to see if a side has gone undefeated throughout the season and not won the minor premiership. So congratulations to Mick Balch and Hamilton. No side has done it since at least 1959. So
are you congratulating Mick Balch for coming second?
for
going undefeated?
For going into the record books, I think. In that
congratulations, Balchy. He's probably the first coach to have a rotator cuff injury as well during the season.
I'm sure he'd be ecstatic to be coming second and not losing a game.
Here's the ball going back for Broadley. Now Holtz.
He had a chance to strike that, didn't he, Holtz?
It was hanging up in the breeze again. He was looking for his second of the afternoon. Aiden Bryce now. Now to McBreen. Very similar position to where he scored against Maitland back in round 8.
Good connection by McBreen on his less favoured foot.
Aiden Gardner now. Bryce, and now across to Hamill. Still Brent Hamill. Gets around Liam Thornton, I should say. And now Maitland will get the free kick here. Now Chris Turner's got a special guest.
We've got Chris Rafferty, president of Maitland Football Club. Thanks for joining us, Raf. We've had to chase him for 2 weeks to get this interview. Raf, going in at 2-1 down at half-time, what do you think the players and the team are thinking right now?
We've got to score a couple of goals, obviously, so that I think would be the plan, not to leak any more and to hopefully get back on level terms at least.
We said that they probably would have gone into the sheds buzzing because they might have had the better of the last sort of 15-20 minutes. Were you in at half-time? Did you hear any of the discussion?
No, I was still involved in other duties, but I'm sure the boys are certainly keen out there to get another couple of goals. It'd be nice to go out of today with our noses in front.
Yeah, absolutely would be, and make a really good, interesting week next week. You've done a great job in preparing the ground, and what you've done with the foundation. You've always done a great job at the club here, you and the whole team, Oz, etc. So keep it up, and thanks for hosting today.
Thanks very much, CT. Yeah, and it's great to see so many people here too. It makes it all worthwhile when you see people putting bums on seats. So good stuff. Thanks, CT.
Yep, thanks for coming in.
Thanks to Chris Rafferty, having a chat there to Chris Turner this afternoon. Maitland with an interesting corner. Fogarty somehow keeps it out.
Great save by Fogarty. Great dummy by, I think it was
Jai McKellar let
Jai
it run
McKellar.
on, I think.
And Ben Mart was unlucky.
It's McKellar with the touch on. Heffernan towards the back post. Fogarty gets up, but Ben Martin was there as well.
That was a great chance. It looked like a bit of a duff by Heffernan. It looked like he kicked the ground from the corner.
Yeah, it went low, very low, and almost confused the Eagles' defence. It did so. Not Jim Fogarty, but Aiden Bryce.
He's made two very important saves, Fogarty.
Now with Thompson. Sends McKellar wide. Almost touches past McLaughlin, but a run over the sideline. Holtz to Moriyasu. And now Matt Thompson unable to regain possession, and it'll go over for an Edgeworth throw.
What I'd like to see is probably Kanu Moore come on in probably the next 15 minutes just to get on the ball. Weave his magic through the centre of the park, because at the moment it's just a bit stalled, the game, I think.
Bazari over the sideline. Just that spark for the Eagles. They're just lacking it early on in their second half, aren't they?
But also, I think he'd do well on this pitch. He's got really tight ball skills.
And now the ball over the top for Ryan Clark. He touches onto Broadley. Now the far edge of the box. Back to Carlthorne. Now that's a long-range shot. Gee, didn't miss by much. Jim Fogarty probably had it covered in the end, but it was worth the try.
Yeah, sure, it was worth a try. It's sort of, mentioned before with the wind where it's a bit swirly and it's pretty bright there for Fogarty as well. I don't know what his vision's going to be like seeing a swirling ball, but probably fortunate for him, it did go a little bit wide. But worth a try, and why not? That's what it's all about.
Last time I seen a swirling ball was at Fenny's in 1999, I think.
This one over the sideline for an Edgeworth throw.
Fenny's is now called Argyle Street, Ben.
Here's McLaughlin.
I think.
And now, yes, I do. I do know what you mean. Here's McKellar, little back heel, Moriyasu.
How did Fenny's get its name? You'd know that, wouldn't you, Smudge?
No, I don't.
Be up your alley.
I don't know.
I might have to interject before this conversation goes down the garden path. Here's Broadley away for Maitland up towards the halfway line.
Notice the intensity's lifted in both teams at the moment. Maitland's had a few half chances and they've picked it up. They picked it up a gear.
Probably say they look the better of the sides coming out in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with the Bart.
Now down towards Ben Martin, but Evans is there. Josh Evans has made some crucial interceptions.
Oh.
And Pasquale with a poor ball straight to McKellar. Groans from the Edgeworth crowd, and now Thompson out-muscled by Bryce. And back to Fogarty in goals.
What I'd like to see here is Maitland just push on a little bit. It's very difficult playing out because of the conditions. So just put him under a little bit of pressure.
I guess there's two thoughts to that. If they do press forward, they don't want to get shredded like, hot knife through butter, because, what they're worried about is that, all right, maybe Edgeworth are going to get down to our third anyway, so we're just going to sit a little bit deeper and try and put the brick wall in front, as is it evident right now. But, Look, I totally agree with you. I think they've been sitting too deep, Smudge. I'd like to see them up a little bit higher as well, and if that's the case, then it's going to make it a little bit harder, and Edgeworth got to get in behind them.
Agree. And you know what? You could force Edgeworth to play it longer, which makes it more difficult. At the moment, they've just been able to. Oh, nice strike by Bryce.
Yeah, and they can get in and around positions like they've just been in now and get shots on goal like that. You could really prevent that by shifting the play further up the park and playing more so in the middle third rather than sitting, in your back four as often as what they've done,
Ball back for Bazzari.
That's well played by Edgeworth. They kept the ball beautifully there.
Played a year in Italy, did Don Bazzari. Now Bryce. Across the ground for Moriyasu. Spins and back to Pasquale. They've done a good job on Moriyasu today, haven't they, the Magpies?
Yeah, he's been a little bit quiet, hasn't he? But I think he's been coming into
Here's some
inland
space.
too much.
Well, Zach Hill
Ooh.
found by Jai McKellar. He goes over the top for Martin, but Josh Evans tracking back.
So that was saying before, like if Maitland pushed up a little bit, compact the space, the ball's in it over the top, they just roll straight to the goalkeeper because of the wind.
You cause that issue if you drop back, don't you? You allow the side to come closer to your goals. Of course, you can't play the offside trap. Here's Hulse. Back for Pasquale on the spin. Now Aiden Bryce again on that right with plenty of space.
Yeah,
Decides
Edgeworth
go
just
back.
need to be patient here. They don't need to force the issue.
Spot on, Smudge. I was going to mention that before. Key for Edgeworth is to really, now's the time for them to get a hold of the game and just really grip it, because if they keep possession now, playing into the wind, they've got the opportunity to do that. They've got the players to do that, and not get tempted to rush and push too quick.
Here's McLaughlin down towards the sideline, in towards the middle, and Carl Thornton puts it over.
To the experience of McBreen, then just gave Carl Thornton a little bit of a nudge to make it go out for a corner, and just puts Maitland under pressure again.
Back to Moriyasu, I'm not sure the conditions today really favour him. The ball's bouncy, it's up in the air a lot, it's bouncing around, it's hard.
Here's the corner towards the back post, but Carl Thornton again. Gee, how many headers does he win, Carl Thornton? Another one there, and now Josh Evans gets clipped by Matt Thompson. Edgeworth with the free kick.
I think Edgeworth will be happy with the conditions at the moment, as in the game sort of just stop and start.
Yeah.
So, they're happy to probably, wind the time down. If they leave this ground 2-1, they'd be very happy.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be? And then you're going to get home next week.
That's right. 2 away goals and a victory.
Cross to Moriyasu. Turns towards the back post, and Dean Heffernan there with the header away. I think some Maitland fans had their hearts in their mouths for a minute there.
And that means Maitland have to score at least 2 goals next week. So
Yeah, it just puts you under pressure straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, if it's 2-1 to Maitland next weekend, then we will go into extra time if the score stays this way, as we did last year at Arthur Eden Oval. What drama that was.
But if Maitland can get a victory here today, all they need to do is have a draw next week.
No, if it was a draw, it depends what the draw would be. If it was a 1-1 draw, then Edgeworth would go through on the away goal rule.
No, but if Maitland win
Maitland
today,
get a victory,
they
sorry,
need a
yep,
draw. Yeah.
Yep. Down in the corner, Maitland fans getting right involved there, and Edgeworth with the free kick.
And look where Daniel McBreen is. He's back right in the back line. He's chased. They knew they were under pressure, and he's chased back to help his defenders.
And boys, don't screw up the goal thing, home and away, because Bolchie will be straight on the phone, Gary Fisher, and she's on again.
Hey, Aiden Bryce. Well, it worked very nicely last year for Hamilton. They scored that goal away from home. They actually got half an hour extra to play away from home at Arthur Eden Oval last year to get another away goal. I find that rule quite interesting. It's here's Ryan Clark in towards Zach Hill.
I think that's
puts
a corner.
His header wide.
Oh.
It's a goal kick, Damien Smith. You thought it was a corner.
Yeah, I thought he headed into the Edgeworth defender, but it must have headed into his shoulder because he didn't get full connection.
Matt Thompson's in trouble here.
Just quickly before we get to Matt Thompson, that run from Zach Hill, the timing, his delivery, everything about that he just completed them was terrific. And then the timing of the run of the cross, very unlucky not to get a bit more of the ball there for Zach Hill, because he was certainly within strike range.
And the other thing, I feel like the wind's starting to pick up again.
It's back.
It died off a little bit. Now it's starting to pick up, probably even ferocious than before.
Now, before I forget, I've got to mention Top Better, our major broadcast partners. I haven't today, so I need to do that. Top Better, outstanding to have them on board this season. Get in the game with Top Better, Par TV's major broadcast partner for all the winter codes. So get in the game with Top Better.
Well, as we know, Smudge loves a punt with Top Better, and I actually had a bit of a Google. Top Better separate themselves as the first punting company, if that's what you call them internationally, that has punters bet against each other as opposed against the bookie. Did you know that, Smudge?
No, I didn't actually.
Unique. So get on to Top Better if you want to punt in a broader market. Founded in Newcastle, but
they were. From what I know.
And Manchester United were paying $1.45 last night against Southampton.
Was it? 2-0 win for them. Ibrahimovic with a double.
Ben Martin.
Here's Ben Martin away for the Magpies. Over towards the sideline. And it's over for a Maitland throw. I find that rule, it's very interesting in terms of the extra time rule. So if you go into extra time, the away goals still are available to the side that is away. So they theoretically get 30 minutes extra to score an away goal.
So that's the advantage coming higher up on the ladder, because you get
that second bite at the cherry in a
That's
sense.
right.
Well, actually, yeah, so...
Oh, well played.
Played through for Hill. Crossed the face, almost back for Martin. Now for Carl Thornton on the shot. Didn't miss by much a few moments ago. Now Liam Thornton on the volley into the back of Bazari. Shot's getting blocked. There's players down. Aidan Gardner.
Look, that initial move from Jai McKellar was brilliant. You just thought the initial drop-off to Zach Hill was going to happen. Didn't. Turned his player, rolled him out and put Hilly into a really significant goal-scoring set-up position.
But also Zach Hill's run. He made the run as well. So
absolutely did, and he's been doing particularly well. Quick free kick.
A quick free kick. Tim Fogarty makes the save. Gee, I thought for a minute that Tim Fogarty was having a drink. He was awake to it.
I think he was setting up his wall, and lucky he was watching the ball.
Maitland may mix things up here. We've got Jordan Elphick, who's just warmed up, and he's just taken off his bib, so he's going to come on. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that substitution. Jordan Elphick is he's a defender naturally, but he's great getting forward, and he's very dangerous, and he's got great skills. So interesting to see what position he pulls into.
Here's Dylan Hulse turning around, back towards McBreen. Touch on to Gardner, coming through for McBreen again, and Matt Trott is there.
Well played by Edgeworth. Interplay was superb. They're very unlucky.
Here's the ball headed over towards the sideline. And here is the substitution for the Magpies.
Jai McKellar is coming off.
Is that a good game, Jai? Been busy.
He has, and it possibly is just a straight swap.
Yeah, that's what happened. The last game at Edgeworth, there was a straight swap between Elphick started the match and McKellar came on for a straight swap.
He's had 3 ACL repairs, Jordan Elphick. Talk about luck there. As Aidan Gardner comes from the park.
Is that all on the one leg, or
Keanu Moore? 3. I've just got 3, so I'm not sure if
they all are on the same leg, and he's had a situation where he's come back a bit early a couple of times and tried to, I think, rush back into it. Well, maybe rush is not the right word, but just come back a bit before he's ready.
Zach Hill to Ben Martin now. Gee, Zach Hill's been good in the second half, hasn't he?
Oh, he's a good player, Ben. He's been a very good player for a number of years.
Yeah, he is a good player, and he's a great guy too, and he's someone that you want in your side because he'll keep going, give you everything he's got.
He played in America as, Damien said he played for Edgeworth, that was correct, and he played in America as well. So
I think he played his junior years at Magic, actually. We coached him at Magic.
Yeah, that's right. We had him, I believe it was under 19s at Broadmeadow there some years ago.
24 years of age, Zach Hill. Right back for Maitland as Ryan Gallagher gets involved in the action. Such an exciting contest as Ben Martin, now Ryan Clark.
Terrific
and this
ball.
Near side. He's isolated. He's got Jordan Elphick in the middle. Ryan Broadley as well. Clark takes on Evans. Evans, a rare defensive mistake towards the back post. Ryan Clark has levelled it up for Maitland. Can you believe it?
Got him. He's absolutely got Fogarty with the wind swirling. Just caught it inside the back post. Inch perfect strike.
Now look at Clark. He goes to his fan club, gives him a wave. Just on that, for me, I think he was For me, I think he meant to cross it and the wind just got hold of it and dragged in the back stick, or was it a shot?
Well, you
Or a
know
chip?
what? I'm going to go with you, Smudge, but if I'm number 22 down there, I'm taking every bit of that, no matter what anyone
Well,
says.
right, he's
I
definitely
was going
taking it.
inside the post, yep.
Well, Josh Evans is not going to want to watch that back at all because he has had one of the biggest air swings he's probably had this season there. It's a rare error, and you've got to feel sorry for him because it's the one error he's made probably this afternoon that's going to result in a goal.
But the thing is, it's the conditions as well. Like, you know, he's facing into the wind. He's facing into the wind. The wind probably just pushed him off balance a little bit, which caused him to do the air swing.
Yeah, and the other thing is for Jim Fogarty, he's been caught out by the wind as well. That ball carried more than you would expect it to, and it's just drifted.
Here's McLaughlin now. Over near the sideline. What an afternoon of football and what a fight back from the Magpies.
I'll tell you
Ryan
what, Bart, it's not
Clark
over
with a
yet.
special.
I can feel there's another goal in this. From which team, I don't know.
Here's Dylan Holt. So Maitland, they've got the wind behind them. They've got the home crowd. And Matt Trott with the grab. What have Edgeworth got this afternoon? They led 3-1, as I mentioned, against Broadmeadow last year. Broadmeadow fought back for 3-3, but Edgeworth got the job done second week to go through to the grand final.
I think if I was Zane, I'll be looking at a few changes here at the moment just to freshen his side up.
Well, Damien, here's the quick free kick again taken. It's going to be a goal kick for Jim Fogarty. Gee, I'm on the edge of my seat here. I know we're all standing up, but gee, that's just a phrase. But what a fight back from Maitland. Did you expect this? Did you guys expect it?
To be honest, yes. And you can vouch for that too, CT. They're fighters. They're playing in front of their home crowd. And you know what? This is the first time they've been in the semi since 2000. So 16 years. So they don't want to let this one slip.
They beat Broadmeadow week 1 4-0 and then went down to Hamilton Olympic, who were the premiers that year, 4-1 the next week. So
Look, the three of us travelled up in the car together today, and we didn't bring the minibus, but we travelled up in the car. But we had a conversation about where we thought the game was going to be, and we all had different views, and which is great because today could have been anything.
And my prediction was a 1-1 draw. So
here's Brent Hamill. Brent Hamill down the far side.
And you thought Maitland were in the chance today, TC?
Yeah, I thought 2-1 was a good opportunity for Maitland, or it would be something that wouldn't surprise me, especially as you just mentioned, they're at home, in front of their home crowd, and they're used to the conditions, they know the ground well, etc. So wouldn't have surprised me either.
So just over 72 minutes gone in the match.
McBreen took a bit of a jolter in that one. I could see that was a bit of a body rattler. He just shook it off and got on with the job.
I think looking at the final 18 minutes of this game, I think for Maitland, I think they'll like to go into the second game with a lead. Playing at Edgeworth last time, it's a big pitch. It suits Edgeworth's style. So it's going to be a difficult place for Maitland to go to. So I think they'll prefer to go in with a lead.
McLaughlin's going to stand over this free kick. Remember the return leg next week, Saturday at 2 p.m. Is this one straight to Holtz? Just couldn't control. Now Heffernan around the outside and over the sideline for an Edgeworth throw.
But Edgeworth won't be anywhere near happy with this. They'll want to leave definitely with a victory today and moving in.
Here's Holtz and Broadley in a little bit of push and shove, and now Clark getting involved too. And Ryan Gallagher quickly over.
Yeah, they reffed well there, quickly over, just settle the boys down.
Look, he's done really well all game, to be honest with you, Damien. He's been a really, really good controller of this game. It's one of those ones that could get out of hand because the guys have got both aggressive players in the teams.
Here's McLaughlin. Brent Hamill just getting a little tug on the shirt. Now Ben Martin over towards the sideline, Elphick.
I think if Benny Martin had his time again, he would have held the ball because Ryan Clark was going away. He was on.
But there's a little bit of frustration out there from the Eagles, isn't there?
Well, they had a 2-0 lead. Now it's 2-2. So they're sitting pretty at 2-0 in the first half. Now it's all of a sudden it's a big game.
Here's Keanu Moore up and over the top. Reece Thompson said the Magpies, they were holding a little bit back 2 weekends ago when they went down to the Eagles 2-1 at Edgeworth. And this afternoon, they've fought back in emphatic fashion to level it up at 2-2. It was Daniel McBreen and Dylan Holtz with first half goals. Then Matt Thompson put away a penalty that he won himself. And then Ryan Clark with a cross that dropped in the back post, you could say. It looked like a cross. Could have been a shot as well, as here's Josh Evans. Playing one through for Hamill. And Hamill couldn't control Thompson away. And the free kick goes Maitland's way.
It's getting a bit.
It's
bit
very
narky,
tense out there.
It's a bit narky in the
Very
middle.
tense.
Everyone's at each other's heels. Bit of stop.
Yeah, whatever you're going to say,
Yeah.
don't trip over that. But what
Sorry.
Edgeworth need to do here is they just need to just relax, take a breath, get their foot back on the ball, and then get their shape back to the game. It looks like it's just been a little bit disjointed over the last 5 to 10, and what I would prefer to see them do is just keep the hold of the ball a lot longer, because Maitland running on a bit of momentum right now.
Here's Moriyasu spinning and turning on the ball. Back to McLaughlin.
This is what they want. Pasquale on the ball here.
Pasquale, look at this space he's been given in the middle of the park. Across to Keanu Moore. Zach Hill doing the defensive duties on him.
Yeah, Zach Hill's been superb for me. He's been
Outstanding.
very outstanding
Outstanding
in
for
attack
Maitland.
and in defence.
Here's Bryce now, again down the right. Towards the back post. Moriasu's going to try and run that down. It may go out, but it's reefed long by Zach Hill. That is almost up to halfway. Over the top for Bazzari, and now Pasquale. And Hill again with the clearance away. They haven't beaten any of the sides above them this season, Maitland. They've had 2 draws with Hamilton. They went down twice to the Eagles, and they went down twice to Broadmeadow Magic. And they
Great
are
steal by Thompson.
right in this one this afternoon. Martin plays it through for Matt Thompson, and Josh Evans is there again.
There's a grass burn for Matt Thompson. Oh, no, he's got the underduds on. Yeah, they were very, very dangerous. If he can get another touch on that ball, Thompson, he's really clever at knowing where people are, and chances are, I'm not sure who it was inside of him, but he would have been a real good opportunity to find them and put them into a hole.
Agree. I'll tell you what, if Maitland's got someone who can throw a long ball here, Fogarty's got the sun in his eyes, the wind right behind him.
Brock Oakley normally takes the long throws, but he is on the bench
Because that could be
this
very
afternoon.
dangerous, yeah.
Zach Hill, how is his long throw? Not bad. Ben Martin with the turn. Surely that couldn't go in. The header away to Aiden Bryce. Now for Thompson on the volley.
Yeah, difficult for Thompson, bounced up.
Yeah, straight into the sun as well when it was coming to him, and yeah, popped up on him, and he really had nothing to do there.
It's been a masterclass this afternoon from Matt Thompson, hasn't it? In the middle of the park. He has been brilliant as well. And we've got to come up with a man of the match.
Well,
That's
we got
gonna be
a
tough
couple of
duty.
people that are in contention. One of them, Zach Hill, that we've spoken about before. Matt Thompson's been really, really good.
Dylan Holtz as well for
Dylan
Edgeworth.
Holtz has been superb for.
He has.
And so's McBreen. He's been very dangerous.
Moriyasu with a back heel, and Keanu Moore almost in on goal. Moriyasu with the shot. And it's over for a goal kick.
But he
I think
wished he
Aiden
got
Bryce
over
has
that.
been strong for Edgeworth as well. He's been pushing forward, especially in the first half.
It's a huge moment for Maitland. And Matt Trott, we got 2 balls on the park. A reminder tomorrow, it'll be Dan, Damien and Chris out at Magic Park, Broadmeadow Magic, taking on Hamilton Olympic in the derby. 2 weekends of it, it's going to be epic, those 2 encounters. If they're as good as what we got last time when they played, it's going to be an entertaining 2 weeks of football. And tomorrow, of course, the WPL Grand Final as well, live on Bar TV. Warners Bay taking on Walls End. Here's Carl Thornton now. Going back to Liam Thornton. Stabs it up towards Ben Martin. The header is across to Elphick. And Bazzari's there. He's been strong as well at the back, Don Bazzari for Edgeworth.
Yeah, he's been very good for Edgeworth today. Probably Josh Evans hasn't had his best game, but Bazzari next to him has been superb.
Aiden Bryce. I thought Josh Evans this afternoon has been pretty good. It was just that one mistake that's blotted his copybook, which led to the Ryan Clark goal. It's Aaron McLaughlin. Pasquale. Now across to Aiden Bryce. And he sliced that one over for another goal kick for Matt Trott. Do you think they need another change, Edgeworth? Because Keanu Moore, the only change they have made.
To be honest, I'll be making a change. I'll be making another change. I'm not sure who they got on the bench. I haven't got the team sheet in front of me, but just to freshen things up.
They've got Dan Miners on the bench. They've also got Bailey Garland and
Yeah, I was impressed with Dan Miners last week.
Sam Maxwell looks to be down there warming
Yeah,
up.
so they've got some very good young boys on the bench. I'd probably, the last 10 minutes, throw one in there. So Maitland's got an option here. They either push and go for the win, or they sort of just be a little bit careful and make it a second leg. What do you think, TC?
It's going to make it tough, isn't it, with that FFA Cup match as well, a few days later on the Tuesday. So not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after as McBreen goes down. McBreen with a little bit of a limp, but he looks to be all right.
I think they just keep going the way they've been in the second half, which has been, they've got the go for it mentality, and try and get a victory here. They'll be ecstatic if they could go with a win out of this game this afternoon.
So here's Holtz, just getting in front of Elphick, and now
Thompson. That was superb by Thompson.
Hill playing it through, intercepted by Bazzari. And now McBreen, Carl Thornton in the back, and here's this tense nature. It's coming out. There is a yellow card for Carl Thornton.
No, that was, I think, Blake Thompson, the yellow card for throwing the ball away.
So Blake Thompson's gone in the book for good spotting there, Damien. I think a lot of people thought it was Carl Thornton, but it is Blake Thompson with the yellow card.
Which is interesting because Smudge can't normally see that far, but good pick up.
Yeah, I got my new sunglasses on, they're prescription, so I can just see.
Tell you what is interesting, the Maitland players warming up in the same corner as the Edgeworth players. Normally you see them at opposite ends. Here's McLaughlin towards the back post. McBreen was there, but couldn't get his head on the end of it this week.
Looks like there's been a clash of heads between... Is it Evans?
It's not. McBreen is up. May well be. It is Josh Evans.
Yeah, I think there was a clash of heads.
And Thornton maybe? As in... Oh, no. Oh, yeah,
maybe
might be
Liam Thornton.
Guys, just going to have a look at the replay. No, we're not. But I think it is Liam Thornton that's down on the ground. And it's timely that the players have been warming up. If we've got to make a substitution here, and I'm not sure who it will be that Maitland would bring on. Might be Rossi, perhaps. But he's still down on the ground if it is Liam Thornton, and that's not going to be good news for him or for Maitland.
He's getting taped up, so it looks like you think he may stay out there if that is the case. Josh Evans is back up. He's coming over towards the sideline.
We have decided that we will cancel the Harry Town jersey.
Yeah, so just as guys, as you know, you love my research. So just on the research today is about Maitland. So do you know Maitland consists of 3 separate towns? It originally consisted of 3 separate towns: West Maitland, East Maitland and Morpeth. And Maitland was named after Sir George Maitland. TC, did you know that?
No, I didn't. That's interesting.
Yeah. And the first electricity connected in the Maitland was Maitland Town Hall, and that was in 1922.
Is that right? And did you know this ground used to be where they hung the prisoners on death row from Maitland Jail?
Wow.
Right in the middle of this ground.
Wow. And just finally, as everyone probably knows, in 1955 there was the Maitland floods, and there was 7,000 buildings and homes were damaged, and 14 lives were lost. So that's my research for today, TC.
Oh, it's very impressive, Smudge. I'm actually more amazed that you're doing that sort of stuff. When did you do that, last night? Or?
Just now, Wikipedia.
Really? Just don't know where you got your printer from. You got your printout sheets.
So Dan Miners on for Kiko Moriyasu now. Brilliant research again, Damien. Outstanding. I'm looking forward. Actually, I won't be able to hear tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to what you do come up with tomorrow.
But I should have done communications instead of physiotherapy at uni. Or history.
You would get an A+. You'd get an A+. As now the ball all the way down to Fogarty.
Looks like Liam Thornton's been split open because I think he's changed his shirt, so he must have a blood-stained shirt.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll just find out. What did you catch the number of Liam Thornton? He's normally number 5. Wait and see. It's his Aiden Bryce scything through the middle, and Jordan Elphick puts his boot through it. We've got another player down. This doesn't look good at all. That's not Matt Thompson, is it?
I think it is.
It's Liam Thornton coming on in 15.
And Maitland won't want him to be in trouble because he's been sensational today, Smudge.
Oh, he's been sensational. He's been sensational all year. He's the key. He's the cog in the centre of the park which links everything together.
And
you know
Matt
what?
Thompson is in a terrible state. He is limping. Maybe I'm hoping for Matt Thompson's sake it's just maybe a clash of knees.
Do you know what? I've seen him run like this before, and I've seen him run it out. But it doesn't, I've got to admit, it doesn't look good.
Here's McLaughlin.
Sometimes
Well, Thompson, it looks good now. He's running all right.
it looks like a little knock.
Towards the back post. Liam Thornton, using that head, he just smashed into Josh Evans. That takes some courage.
Aiden Bryce.
Now McLaughlin on the volley. He'll probably wish he had his time over again, Aaron McLaughlin. Into the final 5 minutes.
Sorry, TC. I like when Aiden Bryce comes forward, links up with the strikers. He looks very dangerous, creating the extra play in midfield.
Matt Trott, backup goalkeeper to Danny Vukovic during the 2008 A-League Grand Final that they went down 1-0 to the Jets that season. And over the sideline.
Yeah, Thompson doesn't like to come off, and he'll stay on any opportunity if he's got to run it out, whatever. He's obviously copped a bit of a bump there, but he's run it through.
Here's McLaughlin with the throw.
So we've probably only got about 5 minutes to play left, but obviously there's going to be some injury times.
Yeah, with that stoppage, that
Ooh.
injuries, Holtz goes to ground. Edgeworth with the free kick again. Is there another goal? Is there another goal in this one? It's sort of stalled in the last 15 minutes, hasn't it, in terms of chances?
It could be. If we've got 5 minutes, there's probably a solid 3, if not 4 minutes of stoppage time. So we've got plenty of it for another strike on goal.
Well, who's the goal going to come from? Which team?
Well, if I had to pick one, I'd say it's going to come from Edgeworth. But Maitland are capable of the counter, and that's where, what it would look like. It'd be a counter attack if it came from Maitland.
Here's McBrain. Going to stab it through for Hamill. And now Ryan Clark with some space. He goes outside McLaughlin.
He's been dangerous again today, Ryan Clark.
Ooh. 1 goal already this afternoon.
Oh, great ball.
And an outstanding one at that. Here's Elphick. Over the top.
Dangerous.
Josh Evans controls. Goes up and away, but really with that wind against them, clearance just went straight up in the air. Here's Keanu Moore. Now for Hamill. To McLaughlin. And now for Josh Evans. Reefs it over the other side of the ground. And a throw for the Magpies.
Tell you what, Liam Thorne's got some bandage on there. He looks nearly half like a mummy.
He does, he has plenty.
Must be a big split.
Bizzari almost takes out Pasquale, and now Van Miners. To Pasquale again. He's got Ryan Clark near him as came across as it went to McLaughlin and Bizzari. Do you think Maitland would be happy with a 2-2 draw at home against Edgeworth? Do you think if you'd offered that to them at the start of the day, they would have taken it? Or do you think they would have wanted the win as this has swung in and looks like it'll run down for a goal kick?
Well, you know what, Ben? This is semi-finals football. And you know what? Yeah, Edgeworth are premiers. They've done well. They've done well last year. They've played well. But you know what? Throw that out the window. Bring this game in its context today. You want to go out and win. And you want to win at home. And you want to win well. And then you go into their ground next week and see if you can consolidate by getting a result there as well. So I don't think if you ask them, do you want a 2-2 draw, I think they'd say no.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're here to win the game. But after being 2-0 down initially, I think they'll be happy with a 2-2 draw. If it stays like that till half time. And then it's all to play next week.
Matt Thompson, he was limping a minute ago. He's fine now. Back for Ben Martin. Still Ben Martin. He shot into Evans. It deflects wide for Broadley. And Aiden Bryce just pushing him over towards the sideline. Liam Thornton in the number 15. Keeps it inside the line.
Edgeworth's very deep here.
Which, if you're just joining us, have been brought in a few metres.
The Mummy's got on the ball a couple of times there, so he's obviously going okay.
Here's Ryan Clark. Now for Broadley.
Well played by Maitland.
Back for Clark. He swings it across to Zach Hill. In towards the middle. Almost Ben Martin. Just couldn't get on the end of it.
Oh, Zach Hill, I thought he could have volleyed that. He was only like 6 yards out.
Yeah, but not a bad option.
Nice. Yeah,
not a bad option for Benny Martin. And you know what? That was anything but a counter-attack. They built the ball up, built the structure to play it well there and got a good strike on goal.
That was, brilliant play by Maitland.
So we're into stoppage time in this first semi-final, first leg. Edgeworth and Maitland. Here's Keanu Moore. Bren Hamill. And Dan Miners now.
And to be honest, Edgeworth, I think, will be quite happy with a 2-2 draw. In saying that, being up 2-0, they would have expected to go on with the game. But to come away with 2 away goals and at home next week, they'll be reasonably happy.
And Matt Comerford would be busting to be out there today. He loves this sort of arena, and I think he would know in himself he could make a bit of a difference to this game. So, unfortunate that he couldn't take part.
Well, the busted ribs a few weeks, so...
Here's Ben Martin. Still Ben Martin on the ball.
Benny Martin's been good today, holding that ball up. It's been very difficult conditions.
It's going to be the free kick. Free kick going the way of the Eagles.
Digger.
Josh Evans.
Hey, Millsy, how many minutes of extra time?
Hayden Bryce turns it over to Liam Thornton. Back to Clark in the middle. He's got that space and speed, Ryan Clark. Ben Martin's with him, and now Matt Thompson flowing forward. Is there a late goal for the Magpies? Ryan Clark attempted to be tackled, and the free kick is given against Pasquale. Well, if Pasquale did go into the book there, he would have been sent off for a second yellow. Here's Evans. Free kick given the other way. McLaughlin.
Maitland need to be very tight here. It's time into the game. They can't afford to concede a goal.
Brent Hamill, little grab from Elphick. Now Martin.
Martin's down knee.
Here's Hamill. Ben Martin is in all sorts on the ground here. See if Edgeworth are going to put it out. They're not as yet. Maybe they haven't seen it. Back for McBrain. And now Pasquale to Miners. Miners into Holtz. Holtz finds his way into the box. He strikes it across. Matt Trodden again. He almost put it across him and in. And Ben Martin is down.
Yeah, it was an awkward clash by Ben Martin.
It was a wonderful chance for Edgeworth, and goals opened up, and wouldn't you be disappointed that didn't go in for them? And Ben Martin, he's back on his feet, but he doesn't look good. I think Damien he's copped a nasty knock on his knee, or
I thought it was his knee, but he was holding his ankle, so he went in quite awkwardly with the challenge. But there's no need to risk him. There's another game next week. He's had a good game, Brent Martin. He's held the ball up very strong. He's brought his midfielders in.
So Sam Rossi on and Ben Martin limping from the ground. Hopefully everything's all fine with him.
The positive news, he's actually putting weight through his leg.
There's the goal kick from Matt Trott. Bazari.
Yeah, Benny Martin will be feeling that one tomorrow morning.
Again with that head of his fully bandaged up. Matt Thompson. Now Blake Thompson, Keanu Moore getting across, but Blake Thompson won the ball, but it only went as far as Dylan Holtz. Is there a final twist in this afternoon of football? Daniel McBrain wins the free kick, the handball against Thornton.
Dylan Holtz then play the ball into McBrain. He was on his bike. Great run. That was dangerous. That was well played by Edgeworth.
Here's McLaughlin. Brent Hamill towards the back post. Josh Evans rising again with the header. And it's going to go over for a goal kick.
Yeah, there wouldn't be too long to go now, Bart. Looks like Maitland's looking to make it their final sub.
It's going to be Brock Oakley on for Ryan Clark, who's now leaving the pitch. It's a defensive move, definitely.
So Brock Oakley on. And this is definitely out of position for Oakley.
Blake Thompson's been strong as well at the back for Maitland.
Well, he has. He's got all sorts of pressure with McBreen and Moriyasu, etc. And
Jordan Elphick got a little clip from Keanu Moore, but he kept going.
Blake Thompson's contained them very, very well.
Not playing for the free kick was Elphick, and he takes it down towards the line.
Yeah, play for a corner. Oh, unlucky.
The corner, and Keanu Moore would come away, but that is full time. So it's a 2-2 draw at Cook Square Park this afternoon. An outstanding performance, an outstanding fight back from Maitland after being down 2-0. Now, guys, quickly summarise the game. We're going to have to head off because the camera hasn't got much battery left.
Well, look, very quickly for me, Edgeworth came out of the blocks probably the best and consolidated well with some good football, got their nose in front 2-0. Then with that, Maitland got themselves back into the game and 2-1 down at half-time, not a bad result with a penalty. And then second half, I thought possibly they had the better of it. So for me, 2-2 is a fair result, Smudge.
Yeah, totally agree. And also, look forward to next week's game. It's going to be very interesting to see what Maitland do and what Edgeworth do. So, for man of the match, just real quickly, we're getting wound up here.
No, we can keep talking for a bit.
I thought Dylan Hulse was superb for Edgeworth. There was a few great plays. Zach Hill was great from Maitland.
Yep.
There was a number of players on both sides. We could go through it, but what do you
Look, for me, I can't go past Zach Hill today. I think he's done everything that was expected from him. He's been under pressure all day. He's dealt with it well. His distribution's been good. He got into good areas, create opportunities, had a couple of shots. I think he's done more than enough for mine to get that player man of the match today, Smudge.
And looking forward to tomorrow's game, Broadmeadow Magic up against Hamilton Olympic. Quick preview, Damien, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I said last week I'm predicting Magic to play Edgeworth in the grand final. So very, very interesting. I think Daniel Island's a massive loss for Hamilton, but so is Jacob Bailey. So there's a slight advantage there for Magic. However, I know Shane Paul's missing tomorrow from Magic, and he's probably been one of their standouts all year. And James Virgili's just coming back. So I'd say, I don't know, he'll probably come off the bench tomorrow to test his shoulder, see how it is. But all the pressure's on the home team tomorrow is not to concede.
Yeah, and just on top of that, I'm expecting a big crowd there, Smudge, tomorrow. And you know what? If you're someone filling in for Jacob Bailey, you're going to get an opportunity to play semi-finals football on the biggest stage that we've got to offer in this region, and you'll be excited about it. So whoever comes in, it's not just a regular match they're coming into. They'll be buzzing, and they'll be able to no doubt be lifting there for that game. So you know what? I'm not so sure it's going to be all Magic's way tomorrow, and I'm expecting a massive game from Olympic.
Yeah, I never said it could be all Magic's way, TC, if you listen to me, but I think Magic may have the edge tomorrow, but I could be wrong. But in saying that, it's old boys' day at Magic. Magic want to play in front of their big home crowd.
Yeah, no, it's just that you had your Broadmeadow scarf on, so I thought...
I'm not biased, mate.
Well, tomorrow it's going to be a big clash. Broadmeadow Magic up against Hamilton Olympic from 2:30 p.m. at Magic Park with Dan Herrero, Chris Turner and Damien Smith. If you want to catch the WPL with me and Cass Wright and Emily Frost, that's also from the same time at Rockwell Automation Park, Warners Bay and Walls End.
Well, Bart, you enjoy your trip to Western tomorrow.
I will.
We look forward to seeing you next week. 2
trips up to the Coalfields in 2 days. It doesn't get any better than that. So we're going to wrap it up full time here at Cook Square Park. It finished Maitland 2, Edgeworth 2.